Okay, so this is my recording of assessment 4 for computer science, making sense of data. So module 1, we talked a lot about emails. So basically how to access and utilize our emails, basic login, CCing, BCCing, which is, like I said here, carbon copy and blind carbon copy, making sure we have a subject line, attaching files. I'll go on to actually show you the email later just to make sure everything is clear. So still on to email, making sure you know how to open your inbox folder, sent folder, do reply, reply all, forwarding, draft, save draft, and then encrypting protect feature, which is basically like they can only open it once and then it's just gone. Draft is basically just like you pre-write an email and then save it for later if you want to change it or send it or delete it. And then reply and reply all is obviously just replying to the message that was sent to you, and forwarding would be sending a message that was sent to you to someone else. And then we also talked about email customization in the videos. So basically right here, I'm hoping you can actually see my mouse, but right here is the actual how to change it, but like we made signatures. And so like on my signature, it's my name, major. You can add like a phone number, you can add a lot of stuff. Some people even add a picture. But it's basically just to make sure that it makes your emails look more professional. And yeah. More on emails. In like the Houndmail emails, you can make a calendar. So what we did is we like added all our classes and made it so that our classes for every week showed up for every day of the week that they're supposed to be on the correct hours. You can look at different views on the calendar, so like not just the week, you can look at a month view or just a school week, which would be Monday through Friday instead of Sunday through Monday, or even just daily. And like I said, adding classes or even just appointments, not even classes, like we did the pizza party thing. And then also in the Houndmail emails, there's the thing, the Borg, which is that little icon that has a bunch of squares in it. And when you open up that, it opens up other applications within our Houndmail emails, like Office 365 things, like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, other things like that. And then when you open those sort of things, you can also share those documents with other people through Houndmail, or like our loyal emails. And then also just quickly, we also learned about the snipping tool, which is just basically a way to take screenshots of your pages. So basically, like kind of what I was saying, here's an email. Create like a new message. Say, I'm just going to type my own email, or like another email, and then I can CC that to my school email. I can add a BCC. Doesn't really matter. The point of the BCC is that just the people who it was CC to and the person it was sent to will not see that that person received the email. And then a CC is to indicate that they'd be good that they have the email, but it's not necessarily directly important to them. And then a subject line so that somebody knows what the email's about and it's not spam, so just not spam, you know. And then like before, I was talking about signatures. So every single email I send, it has this signature on the bottom with like my name, school and graduation year, my major, my minor, stuff like that. And then say I just typed an email and I wasn't really sure. Oh, well. And then I wanted to attach something. I could just hit attach and I can browse from my computer or cloud locations and add a file. I can encrypt it so that so they can't alter anything or change any emails. They can't CC it or forward it to anyone, not reply. And then I can also just like save it as a draft. And then that'll mean that I can come back to it later and see it as in my drafts. And if I want, I can send it or not send it. I'm just going to discard this because I don't need it, obviously. So then also another function we looked at would be the calendar, which is down here. Just let that load. So I already have all my classes entered, but basically when you just make something, see I have color photo, I can just click it and edit the event if I want, change what day it's on. I have it set to go every single day on Mondays and Wednesdays. So as you can see, it'll just automatically go. So I can just go every single day, it'll always be there. Okay. And then what I was talking about before is this thing. This is the Borg, the tiny little squares. And you can open up Outlook or other documents. See, I can just open up Word, random blank document. I can type whatever, and then if I want, I can just share it. And I can either share it, so I know there's like the recent thing where you can't do anyone with the link, but if I want to send it to somebody in Loyola for like a group project, I can just give them the link, or I can email it to them here, and then they can edit it and we can do collaborative work on the same document, basically, which is really helpful for like schoolwork and things. And then for the snippet tool, you can just type snip down here, it'll pop up, and you can just make a new and just make a screenshot so that you can submit your work or do whatever it is that you have to do. Let me just make sure I covered everything. Oh yeah, and then just, let's see, let's go back to my email. If you want to just make your signature, you can just go to settings and type signature and email signature, and you can edit it. This is where I made mine. Alrighty, on to the next. Module 2. Alright, so this is the command prompt section. So basically this is about making commands into the computer's like terminal sort of thing. These are some of the commands that we learned, which pull up like the file directories, lets you make new files, lets you make new folders within other folders just from the command section, not from like File Explorer. I can just show you how to open that. You just type CMD, it'll open command prompt. Yep, and then I can just type like dir, and here's all my folders, like some of the major ones. You see like desktop, documents, downloads, pictures, stuff like that. Yeah. Also, if you want to change like what actual drive you're on, you can just type like the letter of the drive and colon, and it'll switch it. I don't think I have anything in the E drive, so I'm just going to move it back, but yeah. And then this is how to do it on a Mac terminal. I can't actually show you how because I don't have a Mac, but these are some of the commands that do the same thing, like ls does the same thing as dir, and cd will let you change the directories, and cp will let you copy files. And you do that by, in the top right corner of like the Mac interface, there's a little magnifying glass that you can just click, and if you type terminal, then it'll pop up and you can just click it and open it like I did with CMD on Windows. And then another important thing that we learned about was file management. And so basically that's just making folders, keeping things organized. I'm just going to show it in File Explorer, but it's the exact same in OneDrive basically, where you just right-click, go to New, Folder, make a folder, name it whatever you want. I think I did actually just make this in OneDrive, just because I had OneDrive open. But yeah, and then if you want to know like the file size, you can just go to like Properties. It says the size right here, like 10.8 kilobytes. Yeah. Oh yeah. And then in OneDrive, you can also share folders. So I just right click share. You can also do it from like the OneDrive application from like the Borg on your Houndmail. And then it's the same thing where you just like add an email and you can do collaborative work through OneDrive stuff. So then module 3, we did research on tech specifications. So we looked online at like Best Buy and Apple.com to like look at different operating systems and what makes different computers better, more expensive, and what are important pieces of a computer. So like the CPU, the processor, like the actual operating system that that computer uses, like Windows computers use Windows, or like PCs use Windows. Macs use Macintosh OS. Chrome uses their own thing, Chrome OS. Other things like storage, like a pretty basic storage nowadays would be like a terabyte, which is what I have on my computer. That's kind of a lot, but you know, it fills up fast. And then RAM would be like memory, so that's like active storage that's being used while programs are running. Screen size, self-explanatory. USB ports are self-explanatory, and then the price, because as stuff gets better, like the CPU and graphics cards and storage and RAM gets better, the price obviously jumps. We learned about Screencast-O-Matic. Obviously, I'm using that right now, so I think that's self-explanatory. And then finally, in Module 4, we learned about binary. So we learned about base 2, base 10, and base 16. Everything that we talk about normally in our lives, we learn in base 10. But base 2 would be sort of like, I don't want to say it originated, but it would be like the 0110, 110, like it says right here in the example. And basically, the way that you move it from base 10, or no, from base 2 to base 10, is you get all those O's and 1s, and you line it up with these numbers in that order, specifically that order, these 8 numbers, and whatever, like, if there's a 1 under this one, then add 1 to that total. If there's a 1 under the 64, add 64. And then you add that all together, so like, for this example that I put right here, it's 111, just because of where the numbers all line up. And then in base 16, that's when it gets to like hex codes and stuff. And not exactly hex codes, but it's just assigning like the numbers to letters. So like 10 is A, B is 11, C is 12, etc. So yeah. And then we also learned about ASCII, which is just another number system base in 16. Here's some examples right here. And basically these are used in like your keys. So like every key is assigned in a base 16 code. I believe uppercase B is 66. I think we talked about that a lot. And then, oops, not that far. And then lastly would be file sizes. So we talked about kilobytes, megabytes, gigabytes, and terabytes. So kilobytes, super small, only about 1,000 bytes. I'm trying to think of what you would even use that for. It'd probably be like a Word document, like a small Word document with like a couple pages would be maybe like 100 bytes, or not 100 bytes, 100 kilobytes. Megabytes, probably like if you're downloading a video, something like that. Gigabytes, the example I used here is just RAM, just because it was easy, but like, because like a very common RAM is 8 gigabytes, and then terabytes is 1 trillion bytes, which is a lot, and an example I chose was a 1 terabyte hard drive, which I consider average in like a lot of computers these days, just because files these days take up a lot more storage than they used to, especially if you download things like games or videos or really any like heavy media based things. It's going to have a lot of storage impact. And yeah, that is my presentation for assessment 4.